Hello and welcome to the Performers Who Pivot podcast, brought to you by your host Grace Francis. This podcast is for actors and performers who are navigating two careers at the same time. Maybe one performing arts career and one business to fall back on, or a business to have alongside your performing arts career, or perhaps you want to leave the performing arts industry altogether but don't want to retrain, so you are exploring how to progress using the skills you already have. Today's episode is sponsored by DramEd. Yes, that's my very own company sponsoring this episode. Hi everyone, welcome to today's episode of the Performers Who Pivot podcast. I'm really excited to share this conversation that I had with Jennifer Brooke and Samantha Shaw. They are the dynamic duo behind B.O.S. Acting School. B.O.S stands for Be On Stage and Screen. It's a new cutting-edge drama school. It was founded in 2020 by the both of them, and the company delivers classical actor training with young people via a fresh and innovative twist. So in this episode, we're going to dive into what it's like to pivot from the arts and make a success out of business with a friend. B.O.S Acting School took off during the COVID-19 pandemic, which is when they started to build their online audience. So they really navigated those challenges and they did exceptionally well out of it. So yeah, really great conversation. Let's dive in without further ado. We have Jennifer and Samantha on the Performers Who Pivot podcast. That's the new name.
I like it.
Yeah. Before it was Performers in Business, and I've always kind of flitted between Performers Who Pivot and Performers in Business, and I think I'm going for Performers Who Pivot. So
I love the alliteration. Yeah. Also gives you more like scope. It's more open, isn't it? Like
I think so.
People to come in,
and I think that's most important because we're constantly pivoting.
Yes.
pivot. So yeah, it's good name. Love it.
Thank you. Welcome to Samantha and Jennifer. Thank you so much for joining us. Can you tell us a bit about what you two do, who you are and what you do?
So I'm Sam. I'm 26. I'm from Portsmouth originally, so the sunny south coast, and I currently live in South Wimbledon. And I am an actor and a business owner. We run a little children's performing arts school. Yeah, which is great fun.
Cool, boss. I'm Jen, and I was from kind of East London, Essex, and then moved to South London. And yeah, we run B.O.S Acting School alongside trying to be actors when the industry wants us.
Yeah.
So kind of doing both at the moment, yeah.
Amazing. So can you tell me, first of all, a bit about how you two met?
Yeah, that's a crazy one, actually, because we went to the same drama school, but we didn't really, we met at drama school. Everyone knows each other at drama school because it's so
it's quite, ours was we trained at Italia Conti.
Yeah.
Okay.
The acting BA, and the campus is in Clapham, and the intake is tiny, so everybody knows of each other. But
yeah, I think there's like 90 people in the whole
total
thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was in third year when you came in first year.
Yeah.
And you lived with my now boyfriend, he was my boyfriend at the time, Lawton. And then years later, after drama school, we ended up, you reconnected with Lawton. I don't know how.
Oh God, I can't even remember. I feel like 1 minute we didn't even know each other, and the next minute
we're best friends.
But no, we worked previously with each other, so we taught, and then I think we both had like the same ambition, didn't we?
Yeah.
And especially in terms of like the teaching and things, like we were always trying to improve or try something new, and I think we just kind of inspired each other a bit, didn't we? And we just kind of gravitated towards each other.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
So, yeah, then it came to the point where B.O.S made sense because we knew exactly how each other ticked, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow, I love that. First of all, congratulations to your younger selves for getting into Italia Conti, because that is a tough school to get into. And yeah, I didn't know that about you. I mean, to get into Italia Conti, you have to be quite a young, talented actor, and they clearly really believe in what you're capable of. can you tell us a bit about your cultural background, being from Portsmouth, Sam? Portsmouth, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're from London, Jen. Can tell us a bit about your cultural background, and also when you started to gravitate towards a performing arts career?
Okay, so I'll be honest, I came into the performing arts quite late, really. I didn't even know that it was what I wanted to do. I think I've always been, even as a child, was very outgoing. But where I lived in Portsmouth was like really tiny villagey vibes. So everybody knew each other and it was very green. But there wasn't many children's activities and things like that where I grew up. And then, so I went to school in Portsmouth and grew up there my whole life. But my dad is forces. So when I was growing up, he would travel a lot in the Navy. And then it got to the point where my dad's placement kept changing when I got to going to sixth form. So my parents sat me and my brother down and were like, it's going to be really disruptive for your grades, your GCSEs and things like that. So actually I ended up going to boarding school so that we didn't have to go to all new schools and meet new children and have to have our exams disrupted and things. So, which I'll be honest was a bit of a shock to begin with, when you're told as a 10-year-old that your parents recommend you go to boarding school. But I mean, I was up for it, and it actually ended up being awesome. I loved it. It was really, really good. And I don't think I'd be as independent now if I didn't get to go. But yeah, the boarding school I went to had an epic like drama department with amazing facilities. So was probably when I got to about 14 when I got to experience like my first school production. I was like, hang on a minute, I love this. But yeah, then did it for GCSE, and then I actually left boarding school in year 11 to attend like a performing arts college. Yeah, and then just got the bug from there, really. I was like, hang on a minute, I just don't think there's anything else I want to do. This is it for me.
Yeah.
So just went full force after then, really.
Yeah, I was the same. I didn't get into it till so late on. Because I think when you're younger, when you hear like acting, you think musical theatre, and I cannot sing or dance at all. So I was always saw my friends that went to like dance schools, and I was like, oh, that's really fun. Like, I wish I could do that, but it's not for me. And I guess, I grew up, well, I say I'm from East London, it's more Essex, I was born in East London, raised in Essex, in a little village, very similar to Sam. Everyone knows each other, very green. But I was very lucky to have London on my doorstep. So it was always trips to the theatre and stuff, and I'd see it and I'd be like, oh, that's amazing. But again, it's West End musicals that you think, oh, can't do that. And then I got into GCSEs, and my drama teacher at the time was like a proper like old school drama teacher, and he'd trained at Central, and he came in his 3-piece tweed suit every time, and he did No Coward. And I was like, oh, hold on a minute. There's a whole nother world to it. And suddenly I was like, okay, that's where I fit. Like, that's what I need to do. And then, like Sam said, once you get the bug, you can't. And I think actually he said to me, if you can think of yourself doing anything else, don't go into performance, because you can't. Like, if you can think of yourself being in another job, you should not be an actor, because you're going to have to constantly question that every day. And I was like, can't see myself doing anything else. So that was it, really.
Wow, that's so interesting. And that's such a good piece of advice, I think.
Yeah.
You kind of have to have an obsession over this industry, over acting, if that's the route that you're going to go down.
Yeah, absolutely. It will literally like chew you up and spit you out every single second. So sometimes I still do. I sit down and I'm like, okay, can you see yourself doing something else? And I'm like, still no. Okay, keep going. Pick yourself up.
But you run your own business, which is the B.O.S. Acting School. And that's very much using your performing arts skills. Where did that come into it? Did you kind of see that entrepreneurial side in your personalities as young people?
I didn't. My family always thought I was going to like run a business. They always pushed me. They were very upset when I said I wanted to be an actor, because they were like, no, you've got to be in business. But I never saw that. And it kind of, I don't think either. I think even now we still don't see it. We're like, what? Entrepreneurs, like when we have to like do the finances and all of that, it's like, it's a whole new world that we've had to kind of introduce ourselves to, because that's not what we trained in. I think it honestly just aligned itself. We'd both been teaching at other companies for many, many years, one together, a couple separately. We both loved it. We both got to the stage where we kind of knew sometimes, I hate to say it, the company's better than other people, just because we were in it. You know, sometimes I think you can get to the top and you can't see the bottom anymore, and you can't see like what you're teaching and all of that because you're not in with the kids again. So I think it got to the point in COVID when everything kind of went up in the air and you start to question everything because the acting industry goes down. Jobs are now questionable. And suddenly we both went, we need something more sustainable that's going to keep us going. And we both knew that it was maybe in our goals, but maybe a goal for like 5 years' time. And it just became that a further goal became more immediate. And we thought, no, we need to do this now.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, had COVID not happened, it would have been something that was potentially on the horizon for a long time. But instead, I think for me, the main thing that I think was detrimental when I left drama school is I was fed that unless you dedicated every single part of your life to your acting career, that you were going to fail. So I can remember I left drama school and I'm sure it's the case for everyone, but I was working horrible hours in a sports bar because I was fed that I needed to be 100% flexible whenever I was needed. And essentially, if I enjoyed another job alongside, that I wasn't focusing on what I needed to do. And I feel like for the first few years after graduating, I just was in this hole of not enjoying each day because I was almost punishing myself if I enjoyed it when I wanted to be an actor. And it just came to the point where I was just like, what am I doing? Like, I should be enjoying something else on the side and I can still work hard. And then when a role or a job or an audition pops up, it's like, oh, that was really good. What a good day. I'm also just living my life. And I also felt like I didn't want to be a teacher. I didn't want to teach it.
Oh yeah, because I hate that saying that is if you fail to I'm like,
no, teach or something.
Yeah, something along the lines of, and my dad drummed this into me, this saying, those who can do, those who can't teach.
I hate it because, you know, some of the people that like truly like inspired my life and like put me where I am is my teachers. And you know, they did it. Like, you know, they were doing it. They just decided to give back. And like, I'm not saying that that's what we're doing, like giving back and stuff. We're teaching, you know, kids acting on the weekends and stuff. But yeah, I hate that idea. But Sam's completely right. I think there was one teacher that said, if you love your second job, quit it. And I think that's so unhealthy because you can really suffer. Like, this industry is hard for your mental health and you've got to remain strong. And if you remain strong, you walk into an audition room beaming and you're light and you're happy and people want to employ you. So like, I think there's got to be a real look at where like that conversation of second jobs, because it's almost like if you have a second job that you love, you've quit. And that's not, it's not
going to be the best version of yourself. And I actually think that I'm desperate to feed that back as well, because I think it's so important that graduates leave understanding that they need to be fulfilled in order to do
and it's more flexible. Like you were saying earlier, like you have to go, if you work a bar job, it's more flexible for your auditions. Well, no, because the managers of those bars are doing their job. They're trying to keep that bar flowing. They're not going to be as flexible as,
and of course it's going to be flexible because you're not going to have an audition at 2 a.m.
Exactly. And like, you know, if you run your own business and drama schools and unis, wherever you meet who's in the same creative field of you, that's where you're going to have those strong connections with people who have the same ambitions as you. If I had an audition, Sam's got the business, vice versa. Like it just, a healthier look needs to be had on actors having second jobs.
Go on.
No, I was going to say, I totally agree. Number one, that's really interesting because we're looking at this from a partnership. So you both can absolutely support each other when you go into that. But yes, we absolutely owe it to ourselves to be able to live and enjoy life every day, because that comes across in your auditions. And also when it comes to teaching, I kind of use the idea of an expander. Like, I think everyone needs to be able to see it, to know that they can do it too, to be able to say, oh, if they can do it, I can do it too. So if you're teaching and you're growing your acting career and you're teaching acting, and you can show that you're succeeding in that path, that is a huge lesson to learn, to see that you're doing it and you're teaching it. That's a brilliant teacher, I think, someone who's walking the talk, talking the walk.
I think it reflects back as well, because there's so much in 3 years that you have to consume and take in from your acting training. And some of it does go out the window. But then when you're going back into a classroom with kids that are really passionate, and especially, it works across the whole school, but especially with our pros, because they're the 15-year-olds that are wanting to go to drama schools and do this. Suddenly you have to kind of dig back into your brain, find that skill. And then you kind of go, oh, actually, that's why I can use that again. Like, it's reminding yourself. So it's almost like you're training yourself as you're training them again, which is really nice.
And I suppose, like, in terms of like expanding your repertoire and stuff, like when we're finding new material for them and things like that, you're still keeping all the creative juices flowing and going to see new theatre and stuff to apply for our students. And you don't realise that you are exercising that part of your brain constantly, so that when we get to the point where an audition comes up and things, I feel warm and I feel ready, and I feel like I've not stepped off the bus.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's exactly why I have built DramEd the way I've built it. One of our taglines is I teach, and then when I'm ready, when the audition comes, I'm ready for the job.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's actually quite a smart thing to do, being an actor and lending your performing arts skills in another arena, so you are still warming up, you are still practicing. I've been out of acting for quite a long time, but I've constantly been singing in these classes that I do, using my imagination, and now I've gone back into acting, and I don't feel like I've ever left, because I haven't.
Amazing. Are you happy to be back?
Yeah, I am happy to be back, and that was always the plan.
Yeah.
So I do think just kind of staying focused and knowing what you want, which brings me to asking you, like, what do you want? Where is it that you are, kind of what takes where is it you're going? Are you going for acting? Where are you in your acting career at the moment? Has that got equal weight with where you're going in building a business? Are you enjoying one more than the other?
I suppose at the moment, I think opening up B.O.S. has been such a whirlwind, and with the pandemic and everything, there was a lot of fear of not only trying to support yourself financially, but start a new business and things like that. So to be honest, I think a light bulb moment is it's been so tunnel vision to get this business up and running so that we can support ourselves and it lends itself to our acting career. So I've just got to the point now where I feel like we are thankfully in a very, very strong place with the business at the moment.
Yeah.
It means that we can breathe a bit and we're managing to support ourselves and stuff. So now I'm like, I can calm down now. That tunnel vision can relax a bit, and I hope to have much more focus on my acting career, because it has taken a backseat. I mean, the industry has been
That's the thing. I think it's a bit of fate as well, because like I'm a big believer in fate, and the fact that we started it in the pandemic, which was probably the craziest decision we ever had, but actually it was the time when we could give our focus for a year to this business, start this business, and now the industry's back and we suddenly feel like we can alleviate a little bit so that we can have that equal balance, where I think if we had done it another time when there wasn't a pandemic, we wouldn't have had that. We would have probably had a lot of crossroads.
We probably would have, I hate to say given up, but like the fact that the industry was shut meant that we felt like we could focus on it. Otherwise we would have probably been like, this is just too much commitment.
Yeah, I think it would have stayed we would have scaled really small. It would have been, you know, a couple of classes in the week alongside another job and focus still on the acting. And now I feel like it became like a little bit like 40-60 towards B.O.S. And now it's back to being 50-50 and it's the right timing.
Yeah.
And, you know, earlier on, I asked you, we spoke about books and what kind of, do you have any resources and books that kind of you would say is a go-to or that's helped shape your mindset? And you both said, not really, like you didn't really have a book. And I said, oh my gosh, like I really do. I can't imagine having progressed in life without my books. And a lot of the books that I go to are what once upon a time was labeled as self-help. A lot of them are about fate, a lot of them are about spirituality. So it's really interesting that you say that, because I didn't expect you to say that. And then going back to the pandemic, just in general, and I think this is probably what the books have helped me do, or the books that I read have helped me do, is look at each challenge as a gift wrapped in sandpaper. That's always what I say when I have a challenge. I'm like, okay, this seems really hard at the moment, but it's a gift wrapped in sandpaper. I just need to find out what the gift is. And I agree. I feel like the pandemic was a horrible time and lots of people suffered, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone. But that time, to the time that I got to focus on business, and that lots of us got, was a real gift.
Yeah.
I want to go back to creativity. I feel like you have to be really bold and daring, unfortunately, in life to commit to something like the arts, right? Performing arts. And I don't think that should be the case. I think that we should nurture everyone from the youngest possible age, nurture their creativity, because it's that helps unravel what we've got to offer the world. And I think that a lot of the performers that I come across and that I speak to, having had that experience of tapping into their imagination and coming up with ideas and putting it into a play or a dance performance, a lot of them can gravitate quite easy or pivot quite easily into business, because business in itself is another creative expression. You come up with an idea, it lands, you take action, you make it happen.
Yeah, I think so, because you need to be able to adapt and you need to be able to have the confidence in order to, no matter what business it is, to have the bravery to put your ideas and your oomph essentially into the idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Be very vulnerable.
Yeah. How would you say showbiz is similar to running your own business?
Oh, I think they'd have a lot of similarities.
Yeah,
actually.
absolutely. Like timekeeping, like making sure, like
timekeeping, finances,
marketing. You got to market yourself.
Trying to keep a step ahead.
Yeah,
all the time. Also, something that I think is a real parallel is trying to figure out all the options that could go wrong as well. Like, let me just pre-plan all the. I don't know how I'm trying to.
You have to be quite a little bit like a pessimist with your business sometimes, because a lot could go wrong. So be prepared.
Yeah, and projection.
Projection. Yeah, there we go.
Projection. Getting used to projection. We're so used to it in acting, and
And actually, I've never actually thought about that, but you're so right. I think we are so used to rejection in a positive way that if something goes wrong with a business, we don't crumble.
Do you know what? I've never thought about it like that, actually. But even and I don't think I've ever registered it, but if something goes wrong with the business, we're just like, it's fine. We'll sort that. If that's not working, that's fine. We'll go down another avenue, another route. Maybe it's just so ingrained in us that we're like,
definitely,
it's fine. It's fine.
And how I also think everybody having their parts. So in a production, you've got like the devising, where you've got the scripting of it all, and then you've got the actors who kind of are your shop front, but you have the lighting and you have the sound, you have everyone working as a team. I feel like when I went into business, that didn't register. I was trying to do everything by myself.
Yeah.
But actually, I'm like, no, if I look at this like a production, then everyone has their part and can do it well. Yeah. Are you at that stage in business where you are delegating, you are growing a team?
No.
First of all, can I just say how much I admire you from starting this by yourself?
Oh, yes.
Because I will hands down
goodness.
say that if I didn't have Jen and we weren't a team, that I wouldn't have continued.
Same.
Because there are days when I just think this is all too much, and Jen goes, "I've got this."
And vice versa.
Yeah.
We've never had a crash together, and touch wood, we never will, because that might be the end.
Crashing inside, the other one has to uplift.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
You're extremely
I can't even imagine. And I'm glad that you learned delegating quickly, because otherwise, but we're good at delegating with each other.
It's very natural though. I feel like even since the very beginning, we don't have set, well, actually you do finances. I don't touch a finance.
But
I have no idea what's going on.
But you do like the marketing and like the music and like that. Like we've very
like a natural, we've fallen in naturally. So it's not necessarily been.
But in terms of like delegating to a team, no, we're not there yet. Because it's like passing over your baby. Like I've not had a baby, but
yes,
I can imagine. Oh yes, my little dog is. I can imagine it's a little bit like that, because it's a bit like
we'll get there.
We will get there. We get there slowly.
Yeah.
Like we've got like 3 staff members now, which are great, and they are our friends from drama school, which I think's been really nice because we do trust them. It's not like we've had to like. That's the next challenge, and that's a challenge I'm looking forward to, because I think having an outside person that I don't know can actually teach me a lot about what I need to do as well. But so we've been lucky there that it's been friends. But
and having them means that can still, obviously everyone makes mistakes, but we're still in the second year of running, very much finding our feet. So having those 3 on board means that Jen and I can.
And they're honest with us and we're honest with them, which is a really nice dynamic, actually, thinking about it.
To have them on board has alleviated a lot.
Yeah, it has.
When it was just the 2 of us, we couldn't be sick.
No.
We couldn't, so now we've got them.
The fear of catching COVID for that first year was real. We didn't.
Yeah.
But, that would have been really scary because all of it would have come down. Whereas now it's a bit like, okay, we are prepared.
We've got other cogs. But I really look forward to the time when we feel like we can delegate to other staff, because again, going back to talking about how much focus you have on the business and your career, when we have the opportunity where we have a team that we feel like we can delegate more to, then we can have even more focus on other things apart from the business.
Absolutely. And I think as well, everyone's different performers, and we've had one set of training, and it'd be nice to learn from other people that have had different set. There's so much more for me to learn. We teach stage and screen, and I can teach screen acting. I'm not my dog is about to bark. I'm going to pause for 1 second to let him out before he starts howling. We teach screen acting, and I can teach the acting side, but I'd be so interested to get somebody in that has trained in filmmaking and see what that can bring to the business. And the same with, Sam is a phenomenal singer and she does a lot of the songs. We don't have a dancer.
Dance teacher.
We've got 2 left feet. No, our dances are great, actually. We do push ourselves.
We put a lot of passion into them, and I think that's all that matters.
But again, having someone that is trained in technique with that, I'm so interested in what that will bring. So it's exciting, that new chapter, for those reasons.
So can you just take us back to when you started? So you started during the pandemic, and how, what was that middle bit like of getting your first clients, your first students through the door?
We approached it in a very, I'm gonna say millennial way, because everything was nothing was running, everything was online. So we were like, let's do online classes for free. Let's just put ourselves out there, see what happens. And at that point, we used to say an email address was our golden ticket. So if someone could give us their email address, that was our golden opportunity. We didn't need money. We just needed their email, because then we can email, we've got classes coming.
Client base, and
actually start to build that up. And then we approached bloggers and people, because that's all we knew, because we couldn't get in a classroom. So it
yeah,
wasn't.
so lots of like mummy Instagrams and things like that.
Yeah.
That helped us spread the word. And then we had quite a few kids online, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
It was really fun.
It was.
Like,
it was.
We, for our littlest ones, so 3 to 5s, we were like, how on earth do we do a Zoom class that they would enjoy? And we actually got a green screen and we created different characters. So we'd film videos, wouldn't we? And they would go on like a virtual pirate mission.
They'd get like the video the day before so that mum, dad, or nanny or granddad or can show them the video so that they're excited and up for the class. Because I think sometimes putting a laptop in front of a 3-year-old, they're like, why? So if they had that video before, their imagination's going, and it's not a laptop, it's I need to know the next bit of the story.
And it would be like a pirate, and then they would get them to collect loads of household items for their mission. And then they would be ready in Zoom with their spatula and
it was
their
really
towel.
fun, actually.
It was really funny.
I do miss it sometimes. It was great fun, and seeing them come on with all their different like costumes. Like some people would dress up every single week as the new character, and it was really fun.
Yeah.
Really
so
fun.
Online was our first venture, wasn't it? And then when it came to September, when everything started opening again, we started our physical classes, and we started with six classes.
Wow. Guys, that's amazing. First of all, can I just acknowledge your
mental
your imagination to get a green screen up? And was it you dressing up as the characters to record a little snippet of a story?
And
anybody else any other actor friends that we could rope in,
and everyone was out of work, so they all were like,
some of these videos are hilarious.
They are. It was a lot of fun to film them.
So it's great to have like a community of actors, and they were all like messaging us saying, what's next week's mission, can I do it?
And suddenly you're going in your wardrobe and you're trying to think, how do I make a costume of
how do we go to space? Was it Arnold the astronaut? We were how do we make Jen's partner into an astronaut? It was so funny, wasn't it?
It's hilarious.
At this point, was it still free when you was writing the material, putting on the green screen?
Free, and then I think we said £2.
Yeah, it was like £2, and our older class was 90 minutes, was like £4. We weren't making any money from it.
I think the reason we started to do the £2 or the £4 is so that we knew who was coming each week, so that we were like, okay, if they've paid £2, we've got 5 or we've got 10 or however many.
And it paid our Zoom subscription.
That was it.
Yeah.
But I remember that, so the transition in between the virtual and the physical. So we were obviously in September, and we'd seen some venues, and they were just like little church halls, little local church halls. But I can remember because we were both out of work, so to build these classes in September was absolutely terrifying. We needed to fill them.
Yeah, and we were nannying every other second of the day, so that was probably the most stressful time.
I think so, yeah,
because there was limited hours in the day.
And I think that was the most. There was a lot on the line.
A lot of sleep deprivation.
We can't afford for this to fail. So it was like you'd lay awake at night at 1 o'clock in the morning, and you'd be like, oh, I know who I could email.
Yeah. You'd nanny for 10 hours and then go and fly her for 4. It was a lot. But
But saying that, we started off in September with 6 basic classes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I think we achieved so much in that year.
Yeah,
like shows, we ran camps,
Yeah.
Easter camp, summer camps, a Christmas camp.
Yeah.
We absolutely went for it, didn't we? We dived in.
Yeah, because we didn't have a classroom to begin with.
Yeah.
We were like, oh, there's a classroom, let's book it.
And now, coming into our second year, we've got, I think it's 23 classes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Bit mental.
What have we done?
Did you strategically go for customers in your area or students in your area when you went to mummy bloggers? Did you kind of put it out to the world and then think, okay, I need to bring this back to, are you both based in Essex at the moment or East London?
Wimbledon.
Is that where your classes are right now?
Yeah, Wimbledon and Earlsfield and some in Chelsea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So originally we love Wimbledon. We love the area. I think it's very, very family orientated as well. So we were like, I think it's going to have a very good client base. So I think this is very local, didn't it? Wait.
Yeah, no, there were quite a few Wimbledon mummy bloggers about, and we approached them, and do you know what? They were all so lovely, like really lovely.
A lot of them, their children still come to our classes.
Amazing.
So that was the best thing. It wasn't even like, well, that's what bloggers are for, aren't they? I don't want to say the word use. Right?
Yeah. No, they knew it was kind of a partnership, essentially.
Yeah.
You know, their kid was getting some creativity on a Saturday morning after being stuck in the house for 7 days, and they were putting out little things to help us, and it really helped us. And I don't think we realized until recently how clever that was of us. And not to put yourself out there, but I think you got to register. We had no idea what we were doing. We were just plucking and doing, you know, what we know. Well, what do we buy things from? Instagram. Okay, well, how do we get Instagram to an acting school? Like, just racking. But yeah, it was successful, actually, doing that.
Did you have background in or experience in filming? Because to go and get a green screen,
a background. Do you know what? When I was at school, I did media and I loved editing, and I used to think I wanted to be a film editor, and always had a little passion for it. In terms of filming stuff, my partner has a production company.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sorry.
Don't apologize, guys. Like, for our listeners, it's you know we're at home having a chat.
To do my smart meter. I completely forgot it was happening. My partner started a production company over the pandemic, again, for this outside, I need something. This is the thing, like, we always think about the pandemic really negatively, but I think about how it aligned people in their paths so much. And sorry, I'm going to wait for them to.
No, it did. I'll just jump in here because I absolutely think that, it gave a lot of people opportunities to figure out what they were wasting time on versus what they wanted. And a lot of people thought, why am I wasting my time here? Let me drop that and focus. So your partner did that as well. And it was like a team effort. He brought his skills.
Yeah, he suddenly invested in all this equipment, and then we started investing in it. So he'd use some of the equipment, then we'd take the equipment to B.O.S., and we did filming at a teleconti.
Yeah, in terms of like the editing and things like that, I had never ever edited something until we started doing our online classes, and then we started making like mini videos and things.
Yeah,
I like for the parents after their Zoom class, we'd send them like a little edited version of them in their class. And then obviously that has now just snowballed to the point where we can record showreel scenes or short films with our students and things like that. And now we're able to edit that. So again, like we learned loads of new skills.
Yeah, which is so transferable. I'm now like, I'm going to write a web series ourselves.
And also you can repurpose. Have you repurposed your videos that you made during lockdown? Repurposing those little videos, like you could easily go back to that content, it sounds like, and keep it going, like a subscription or.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We use some of them in classes, so they still have them in classes in the room as like a nice dynamic. But no, I've not thought of ever doing kind of a subscription videos, but I mean, that's a great idea.
So we've kind of touched on your wins. That sounds like a really big win for you. And I hope that you've celebrated that growth throughout the last, as it's been happening, because I think that's really important. Maybe you can tell us a bit about where you're going just with performing, and let's try and wrap I'm going to try and roll all these questions into one.
Okay.
First of all, I'd love to get a sense of where you are with your acting. Are you represented? Do you have an agent? Are you auditioning? And then if you can just take that into your bigger picture goal, what is it you both want in life? And then I'll kind of I guess, yeah, then just ask what you've what resources that you've had. It could be anything. It could be something that someone said to you that's really helped ground you and shape where you're going. So we'll just kind of wrap it up with those 3 questions. Your big picture goal, where you are with acting, or where you are with acting first, your big picture goal, and any resources, books, anything that you recommend, TV shows, that nurtures someone's growth.
So I am represented, and things have been really, really quiet. I'll be honest. I think we've not really touched base much at all. And I think I obviously relate to my agent a lot, and how stressful things have been for him, and how many actors are on his book, and he's trying to get us all out of the woodwork again. But things are definitely picking up now. Like, self-tapes are coming through and auditions, and I did a little voiceover job the other day, and it was just so good to get up, break the routine, get on the tube, roll there and see some new faces and things. So yeah, it's been really, really quiet, and it's been hard. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
But then again, I'll hold my hands up and say, like, I'm a very lazy actor. Bless my agent. I do rely on him to do it for me. So that is something that I am registering, and I need to take on board, and I want to be more proactive as an actor. So yeah, I just hope now that things are opening up and more opportunities can arise.
They
basically.
will. They will.
Yes.
Yeah.
How about you, Jen?
Yeah, acting's been very quiet for the last year and a half, but auditioning again. I think it's a new era for me with acting. I think I've reconnected to who I was back when I left drama school, and you're so eager, and you're ready to rumble, and you're emailing people, you're writing to people, and you're doing workshops. And I kind of sat myself down the other day and had the conversation I think you're going to have with yourself, which is, I cannot wait for this phone to ring. And I've never been that actor, and I'm not going to be that actor now. And I'm represented, and I've got a lovely relationship with my agents. I love them to pieces. But there's only so much, your agent can do. They've got so many people on their books, but what are you doing? So I've been booking workshops lots lately, and getting myself ready again, knowing what's coming up in the theatres, and writing to people again, because at least then if I fail because I've done something, I've tried. I can't fail waiting for the phone, because that's just not.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You felt coming back into the acting industry, because obviously there's no time. It's not like dancers, are we? We can come out and go back into the industry. How have you felt like mentally you have dealt with going back into the industry after coming out?
Yeah.
I feel like it was always a part of my big picture goal, to come back to acting, because I really enjoy it. I know I was good at it. And actually the only reason why I couldn't continue was because I had a family to raise. I had children to raise.
Yeah.
So kind of what I've done has always been to hopefully one day be able to return to that, and not put that responsibility of acting to provide for me and make me happy. I want to be able to do it for the fun of it and for the joy of it. So as I got back into it, I just started to get a feeling that the time was right. Now is the time. There's a lot of stuff that's been happening, and it was just a feeling. I go off feelings a lot. I feel like everything that I've done has been like a feeling. It's like, and so with acting, it was like, now it's time. And then again, everything just aligned itself. Like you, Jen, I believe in alignment and fate and things happening at the right time, and you being in the right space to receive certain things. I started going out to more theatre just through opportunities. I was getting free tickets to amazing theatre shows and meeting people who would like, I have a spare ticket for a show. I would go, I'd be blown away because I hadn't been to the theatre for so long. And then I was writing to the agents of the actors who really inspired me on stage. And then I picked up an agent. And then again, thank you. And then from there, again, the auditions are coming in and they're very aligned. Like, I feel like a lot of the roles are coming in. I'm like, that's me. And a lot of the opportunities that are coming are finding me. I'm not finding them. So I'm just trusting that and trusting the process.
That shows that you should have gone back as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there can always be that doubt in your head of like, oh, like, what am I doing? And then the fact that then even down to the free tickets, and then to your agent, like, it's fate. Believe it.
And I think just we have a responsibility as people to kind of check in with ourselves and ask ourselves, you know, how much out of 10 do this isn't a term that I coined, it was a podcast that I listened to, one of my resources. The lady on the podcast says, ask yourself, is it a hell yes or a hell no? If it's not a hell yes, do not do it. If you're doubting it, do not do it. Always go for the things that feel like a hell yes. And that's something that I'm practicing more, and I feel like it's working.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Hell yes, hell no. I like that. Use that.
And if it doesn't feel like it's at least a 7 out of 10, don't do it.
Yeah, fair.
So, yeah.
And I guess that's what's nice as well about having yourself set up, you know, in a business and financially. Like, you know, let's be real about it. We have to be financially set as actors because it can be tough. The fact that you can go for the hell yeses because you've got this like kind of back support. You're not graping at anything.
It's interesting as well when you've said about the hell yes and the hell no, because I feel like as I get older, what I want to do in the industry as well and the jobs that I want to take have changed. So I felt like I came out of drama school and I was like, I will do every job. I will play the leprechaun in Germany, if you know what I mean. Take all the jobs. I need to get all the credits. And now I'm at the point where I'm like, yeah, it's absolutely what I want to do, but I want the hell yes jobs. I want to be able to do the work that I want to do.
Yeah. But I think that even at one point, that the leprechaun job in Germany might have been a hell yes for you. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And so it can be a hell yes at that point, and then the hell yes can change. It can be a hell no after that, but that's a part of the growth and a part of the journey. So what's next for you two? Where are you going? Can you tell us what your goals are and where we can find and support more of your work, both in acting and in business?
I think for business, correct me if I'm wrong, but our goal for business is to build it up so much that we can delegate more and we can have a little bit of that 50-50 in terms of the working hours as well, you know, physical hours in the room, cutting it down for us both so that we've got more days that's a full day to focus on, you know, other life, you know, not just acting life. So that would be the big business goal, that we can support ourselves financially. We feel comfortable within the business delegating, and we've got the right staff members to do that we trust, and will still deliver the product that we're passionate about at the end of the day. Anything to add about the business goal?
No, I think you're right. I think the main thing is, as well as like we've said, at the moment it's really, really hard being the only two cogs in the company. So I do look forward to being able to enjoy the teaching side more as well. Because at the moment, like when you were talking about being an entrepreneur and stuff, that didn't even cross our mind. We were just like, we love teaching, we love the children, we have so much that we feel like we need to teach them. To be able to enjoy that side even more. But I feel like we've had no choice but to grow, because it needed to get to a certain point in order to support us to a certain place. Whereas now it can grow, but there's no pressure for it to grow. Before we were like, it was all or nothing. And now we can relax and enjoy the process and pay our rent.
Which is, in terms of where to support B.O.S, it's at B.O.S Acting School on all social medias. And you can check us out on website www.bossactingschool.co.uk. In terms of goals, acting wise, do you want to go first or do you want me to? I'll go. I am just looking forward to, again, what is meant for me coming through in terms of acting jobs, but I'm also excited for the new chapter. It's been a massive goal that I've said for about 10 years plus that I'd love to write and film. I've written things in the past, but I've never filmed it and never put it on. And I'd like to finally do that and write it, be in it. Filmmakers have now got the resources to actually film it, even if it's only seen by one person on YouTube, which is my gran. That's what I'd like to do for my own personal goal, to be like, yay. And then in terms of acting goals, I just love to be working. That's what we'd all love to be doing.
I think my personal goal is I need to do some traveling, even if it's not big stints of time. I just need pockets of seeing new places and meeting new people and trying new food, and feel like it's escapism, spontaneity and escapism.
Yeah.
And it's knowledge. You've got to learn.
Exactly. And it's inspiration, right?
Yeah, it doesn't have to even be escapism. Like, I have a few core values, and one is adventure and one is freedom. And that's very much one of my core values. Just let me go and roam the world, have some adventures and feel free. That's really important to me. So
exactly. So that is my personal goal. And my acting goal, much like Jen, is to have more work. But I think I just really hope that there comes to the point in my career where I get to do roles that really inspire me, to play characters that I feel like I learn something from, or I think really challenges me or enlightens me and things like that. That really excites me, that I get to do a play or something and I think, oh, this character is just exactly what I want to get my teeth into. So in terms of like goals with work, that's what I would love. Yeah, I'd love to do that. Yeah.
And I was kind of going to glaze over this question with you, but I don't think I should. Can you imagine yourself at 86 or a ripe old age? If you can you tell us where you are in the world and what you're reflecting on, like what you have achieved?
I hope to have lots of wrinkles and grey hairs.
As if you would.
That I will Botox out.
Jen will look the same when she's 86.
I hope to have lived. I know that sounds so vague, but all I hope, like, I don't want to put where I am at 86 on like material things or like achieve. I just hope that I'm happy and I've lived and I've got no regrets. That's as simple as it is for me.
Yeah, I reckon I'll be in the ground by 86.
Well,
that's the life that I want.
My family 110. I'll be still roaming around when everyone's dead.
Oh, I love it. And I love the fact that you're going off feeling, because a lot of us, I mean, that's absolutely fine to set goals based on feelings. That's one book that I read, and I'll have to link it below in the show notes. And it's a whole book about goal setting, not on material things, about how you want to feel.
Then send me. I want to read.
I will do. Sam and Jen and Sam, thank you so much for joining us on the Performers Who Pivot podcast, which I think is the name that we're going with. It's been a really great conversation. I've loved it.
I really enjoyed it having us.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Thank you.